Idubbbz fricked around and finally found out.
So today we're going to be revisiting the content cop that keeps on giving, well, content. So a few days ago, Idubbbz released his content cop on H3, aka Ethan Klein. And as the dust has settled, we've gotten a lot of additional context that has made this situation even more ridiculous. Now we have Ethan Klein coming out and making his official response to this content
That's fair.
cop,
He's allowed
providing
to do
additional
that.
context, as well as some very disturbing details about the surrounding circumstances. Now, you can see right now the dislikes continue to climb, over 447,000 dislikes versus 348,000 likes. It's safe to say this has been dislike bombed pretty hard, and for good reason. Who thought this would have been a good idea? Where Idubbbz...
I'm gonna pause right there for a second, though. There was no content in the content cop. That's probably the biggest reason.
Revitalizes this content cop series that he said was too mean-spirited to ever open up again. He uses that to backstab his former friend while employing the help of all of his greatest haters to paint Ethan Klein as some unhinged lunatic who's crashing out over absolutely nothing while ignoring important context like the harassment he's faced, the fake CPS calls that the related communities have encouraged against his family that actually ended up with a call being made, and also the human skulls being sent in the mail to his family.
What?
Yes, human skulls sent in the mail. That is the latest detail we just found out.
Like real ones or plastic? What?
From Ethan Klein on this situation, as you can see. But of course, trying to paint him as the villain has backfired because, well, he's the one who's been reacting to a torrent of harassment and deranged behavior for quite some time now. And when you think about this, they really try to frame this content cop, especially at the end, as something that was supposed to be empathetic. Like, they're trying to help out Ethan Klein because he's going through a tough time.
So you make an hour-long, like, shitting all over Ethan, and then you want to empathize. Chat, I'm gonna be real. If someone, like, made, like, a horrible video about me and said, like, I'm a piece of shit, and... like, for whatever reason, I'm not trying to make it a one-to-one, and then you try to empathize at the end, I wouldn't be very happy. I don't understand that logic.
Lost his mind. He's crashing out. Well, of course, doing nothing but mocking him, harassing him, and trying to further more of the bad stuff that is happening to him. And now we have the official response from Ethan Klein on the H3 channel, and you can see my response to Idubbbz, and you can see the reaction to this is completely different than the content cop. So in the first 24 hours, it has a like-dislike ratio of about 97%. Compare that to about the 40% on the content cop. This has been a completely different reaction, and also understand that the communities that he is responding to here are rabid. Okay, I'm not surprised if some of them are going on 5 different accounts trying to put dislikes on this video, but it's still not working. I'm actually pretty impressed by how high the support is for this video, but it makes sense given the content.
It's also not 2 hours long. Hey, to be fair, it's not 2 hours, it's an hour.
Text with the content cop. Now, in this response video, he lays out some important context and additional details, mainly how Idubbbz was so manipulative, especially with some of the clips he was using in the beginning of the video, trying to paint Ethan Klein and even his wife, Hila, as these unhinged lunatics who are just lashing out at all these innocent parties that helped contribute to the content cop, that he was crashing out, that he was just losing his mind. Well, of course, Idubbbz, during all this, leaves out all of the relevant context and tries to manipulate it to make Ethan Klein the villain.
I've enjoyed your content over the years, and as of late, it's gotten really fucking shitty.
Yeah.
So did yours, Idubbbz. Not gonna lie.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree.
Who else? Who else do we want to burn today?
Who else do we want to burn today? You're making it so fucking obvious that this is your emotional dumping ground. It's horrible. This is not what podcasts are. There was a way to approach this to say like, yeah, we feel hurt by you guys not saying something. You've decided to do the extra thing and attack. Now, in fairness, I am attacking back, but...
I'm not even gonna say anything. Oh my god.
I feel very insulted.
I feel like I'm watching a high school drama.
And I feel defensive.
Oh, jeez.
And I feel like I am speaking up for a lot of people who have problems with you. And
this is
a lot
honest.
of people who have been on the receiving end of your harassment.
So I feel like if you didn't have any additional context, you would probably already be able to see through this facade and how much of an unbearable person
I have zero
Idubbbz
context.
has become. Such a condescending attitude, a holier-than-thou attitude that he has really made his entire personality at this point. But what we're referring to here is the lack of context. The clips we just saw and many of the clips shown to prove Ethan Klein's unhinged nature was from this podcast from about a month ago. And you can see the title, Snark Called Child Protective Services on Us.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. I'd be pissed too. High strung, angry.
So Snark is a subreddit completely dedicated to attacking Ethan and his family. That's all they do. And people believe they were part of the reason this whole CPS call came through. Now, in Idubbbz content cop that's supposed to be fair and impartial,
and it's supposed to have jokes in it too. I really failed to see, like when I watched Content Cop back 10 years ago. Oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Yes, I watched Content Cop and Idubbbz content 10 years ago. There was a lot of edgy humor and stupid shit thrown in there when they were shitting all over Keemstar and Leafy and cracking jokes about that. Where was the funny? I felt like it was just shit slinging and calling each other toxic.
Ever once, not a single
Rice Gum was a good one.
Mentioned the CPS call, nor did he mention anything that would give any sort of grace to Ethan Klein in this situation, because this podcast that he made was the same day he had CPS called on his family over absolute nonsense, over people trying to manipulate and exploit that system to try to harm his family simply because they don't like his opinions on things. It's completely unhinged. We talked about it before.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
And now we're going to be looking at some of the additional context here provided by Ethan Klein. Now, in his response and in the content cop itself, there's a little kerfuffle about this kind of falling out over associations with some problematic people. In the video, Idubbbz says, he was trying to friend police me by saying I can't associate with people like, I don't know, Denim's TV. And Ethan would say it's not just because you follow them on social media, it's because you're actively engaging with people who are saying terrible, awful things about me and my family and contributing to this harassment campaign.
I can see that. I can understand that.
You're at the very least okay with it by continuing to associate with these people. Just, both Idubbbz and his wife.
I think even if he made a video where he even brought in people that are close to Ethan, I think that probably would have made it less... People wouldn't have been so pissed, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe he got a Skype interview to talk to them, Zoom call to talk to those people that are close to him and be like, yeah, Ethan's kind of getting unhinged. I remember he used to be a lot happier, but I think he's gone through a lot. I think that would have been a more empathetic angle than taking the people that fucking hate him.
Anissa. And you can see from this, it was never about trying to help out Ethan Klein. All that moral grandstanding, it was just a shield for them to go after him for over an hour, attacking his character and trying to frame him as some crazy person. Now, of course, he's going to provide some of the context here and show that whole CPS situation and how so many people involved with the production of the Content Cop were encouraging the sort of hysteria around a lot of the fake information that was being spread about what was going on with his family.
Now, why am I mad at Ian for this? Well, let's start here. Deranged is someone he's accusing me of in his video of harassing. Let's see what Deranged said about my children 3 days before CPS was called.
He lets his dogs shit all over his mansion, and he just leaves the shit on the floor, something that is probably related to the fact that his former housekeeper is suing him for a number of different reasons. So I would assume he doesn't actually have a housekeeper anymore, or perhaps he lost his extra housekeeper. So now the house is just like covered in dog shit. And
who is this guy? Is he close to him, or is he just another hater?
He has kids, and his kids like crawl into the dog shit, and
so Ethan isn't only said, what the frick?
God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. I don't know if they eat it, or if it's just from like contact with it with their hands or something, but they contracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called Giardia from the dog shit that is all over.
So, again, I talked about this in a previous video about a month ago, but to give some additional context, this guy, Bad Empanatic...
And why does everyone here say, I can confirm a history of him not picking up the dog shit? Like, what, do you live with him or something? I don't quite understand the logic. Giardia, but close. I mean, it doesn't matter. He's still accusing him of, like, exposing his children to a disease. Yeah, the house being full of shit. How do you know? Like, did you see pictures or something? Again, I don't know all this drama. I'm just asking questions.
Here, who's reporting this?
He's
it's
the
acting
dog.
like this is some rare unknown disease called Giardia. And that was something that over 1 million Americans a year suffer from, and we had literal pediatric nurses coming out and saying stuff like this happens to kids. They have a 3-year-old kid who's crawling around on the ground. They had a dog that they just got who was a rescue who had a stomach virus and clearly couldn't control itself in a new environment. And at some point, the 3-year-old must have crawled into it before someone noticed the leavings were on the ground and they got sick. And again, all these pediatric nurses came out and said, this is the kind of stuff they deal with every single day. They don't see a single red flag. It's unfortunate. But
who cares? If it was a consistent thing, yeah, sure, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, what's wrong with you? But like, okay.
That's the way it sounds like it happened. But this person's making it sound like they're going around rolling around this stuff, that they're eating it, that it's like it's everywhere in their house, that it's completely unsafe. And you can see the logs here that people have gathered together of these sorts of reactions. And are you surprised that this happening 3 days before the CPS call is not much of a coincidence?
Is this true? Dude, how is it that like maybe once a week I look into what Ethan Klein's been up to, and every time I manage to find more and more terrible shit. This is where.
And that's kind of like with this Bad Empanada person, because like this video that they're reacting to, Deranged is reacting to, is like very key to this whole thing where a lot of this stuff really heated up. And it's like the more I look at this guy, the more unhinged he is. Like we talk about Frog.
Goodness gracious me, that's a yikes, man. What the fuck? Hello? What? And I thought Frogan's one was bad.
And with her quote about how she thinks
Cheese
American
and
soldiers
crackers,
deserve PTSD.
dude.
I mean, he said this. Every U.S. veteran gay-manning themselves is a criminal bringing themselves to justice. I think this is actually worse.
Who are you winning over with this, man? Other than people that hate the U.S. military and imperialism.
Than the Frogan line.
That's
then you see that he was
crazy.
celebrating in multiple chats when CPS was abused in order to target Ethan Klein's family over this matter. And then...
And also, taxes from that state into CPS. Instead of going to, like, actual families with fucked up, like, dynamics in houses.
You also see this bizarre Instagram story that he released pretty recently where he said, the 26th and 27th of April, there is another surprise for you, Ethan. Enjoy the ruining of your life. And this
is a professional hater. God dang, man.
This is one of the clips from that story.
Tick-tock, there's the clock.
Bro, if I had a hater like this, holy fuck, that's how you know you made it. TikTok, bitch. TikTok. Like, I'm laughing, but I guess I wouldn't be laughing if this was happening to me.
Tick tock, tick tock. If you thought it was bad today, my friend, you just wait and see what else we have in store for you.
That is some Joker type shit. Holy man.
Yeah, I mean, they all seem like really, really normal people, but you can see, based on this whole interaction here, the chat was getting very riled up by this, and it's no coincidence that, 3 days later, there was a CPS call made. Now let's look at one more part here, where Deranged tries to justify a CPS call on kids because, well, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, they probably won't remember what happens during something like that.
I want you to...
No, that's not true. I remember things that happened that were kind of stressful for my parents. Yeah, there's a lot of people who also remember 9/11 when they were like 2 or 3 years old, or 3 or 4, and their parents like yelling and shit. I remember I had a friend that was like born in like 2000, and they said that like they were like 1 years old or 1.5, and they remember their mom screaming at the TV. Like you kind of do actually. It's proven. And especially like 4 and 5, that's kind of when you gain consciousness too.
Create any bad memory here for them. Like, they are 5 and 3. They don't understand this shit. So I told him,
create any bad memory for them. You're not forming memories at 3 years old.
That you're actually clinically retarded. That's not true. Sorry. I don't mean any disrespect. Like, I just think you're retarded for saying that so confidently.
And it's very rare that you're forming memories at 5 years old.
Yeah, tell that to the kids that get assaulted and, like, seriously hurt by people. Yeah, they don't remember that, but okay. Yeah, dude. All those kids that get beat. Yeah. They don't remember anything.
Now, yes, you are. No, you're not. When we're talking about being able to remember, being able to recall memories, it's like 4 is the cutoff. But even if you are forming any memories at 4, you're not going to be able to remember them past like 15.
What?
Yeah.
What? Bro, I thought I was stupid. Chat, like, I just feel like everyone, like, is she lying? Is she just, like, actually unironically lying? Because I feel like a normal person can recall memories from 3 to 4 years old, or even earlier, depending on how traumatic it is. It's like an actual study that's been done before. I think she's being disingenuous. There's no way that she doesn't remember a memory like that. Like, you get a knock on the door, and your parents are freaking out because the CPS are gonna take away their kids. Like,
You get it. She wears many hats. She's an expert in many different fields and is able to make very bold statements like this, basically saying that a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, who cares if they make there's a false CPS report
that's crazy,
made on their family, and now the kids have to be interviewed. Who cares what happens? Because they won't remember it anyways, which is total BS.
That's bullshit.
By the way,
no.
And also what a chilling effect that would have if you use that as a standard for all kids across the world,
Yeah.
right? So like nothing matters.
Okay, man, your uncle did something really bad to you. Oh, you're not gonna remember it. You're like 3 years old, buddy. What?
As long as they're not like physically harmed, nothing matters because they're 3 and 5.
That's
like,
crazy
what?
work, dude.
An absolutely deranged thing to say here. And like, don't you see why someone would be uncomfortable with this person being friends with you or your wife when they're talking about your family like that?
I'm not even gonna touch on the subject of like who you can and can't be friends with. This is all like their fucking problem. It's just like, you made a video and you had her included, and she clearly like tries to defend this, and that's where it's like, I don't know, man. It's a little weird. A little bit weird.
And it gets even worse. There's other clips like this where she tried to imply that Hila, Ethan's wife, was a child killer.
And
I mean,
if you opened the
Guys, the IDF member is bringing us back to reality. Okay? The IDF member is bravely taking a break from killing unarmed children to bring us back to reality.
So does that mean all American soldiers, they go overseas and hurt kids? Like, oh, I don't want to get into like the fucking politics, man, but like it's so fucked up to say that to someone like a soldier. That's so ignorant and fucked up to say. That's what they're trying to say, man.
What a wild and gross thing to say. And also, for those who don't know, the IDF is something that
it's mandatory, yes.
Like his wife, Hila, they have to participate when they turn 18. So she uses that as an opportunity to imply that she was game-ending unarmed children during her service, which is
very telling language,
slanderous thing to say, but also something that apparently is pretty funny to people like Hasan Pikers, who was reacting to the response that Ethan Klein made recently, and this is how he reacted to that whole segment we just looked at.
The boy could be an actor, you know what I mean?
Denham's, who literally calls my wife a baby killer, amongst other insane, terrible things.
All right, he's just like, dude, this is such a funny way to react to this.
Am I missing something, guys? Am I missing the joke here? Like, what is so funny? Are we watching an episode of Bro Tips? You know, some classic Hasan Pikers stuff here. Like, is that what we're laughing at? Because I don't understand what's so funny about someone implying that their wife is a baby killer.
Why can't they help themselves? It's like the art of valid criticism is lost on these people. Let's assume for a second some of the criticism they have against H3 is like valid. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't keep up with the drama. I don't care to find out for myself. You completely ruin your point when you do insane, unhinged shit like cackling because your crony called Hila a baby killer. People stop listening when you celebrate anyone game-ending themselves. I am genuinely at a loss for words. Like, why can't you just be normal? Why is it hard? Why is it so hard to state your criticism without behaving like a cartoon villain twirling their fucking mustache? I don't understand. It's crazy, man.
Like, what is so hilarious about that? And of course, he has
That's
no actual
fucked up, man.
argument as to why that was acceptable whatsoever. Why Ethan is so wrong for being offended by that. He's just like, oh, dude, okay, dude, as per usual. But anyways, in Ethan's response, we would get another very disturbing round of information here. It wasn't just the CPS call around that time. There was another very disturbing development that he's going to explain right now.
There's something that I've never talked about
skull
publicly,
thing?
but around the same time, we received 2 human skulls in the mail at our home, which led us to having a very pleasant interview with the FBI.
Oh my
Things
God.
have progressed well past the point of that's just what the internet does. Ian had a recent revelation. He's transcended into a new person. He's achieved nirvana and discovered empathy at age 32.
I think only in these past couple of years have I gained the
I'm not laughing at like this, just how he said it. It's just funny. I'm sorry.
ability,
I'll let him go.
empathy,
It's kind of funny.
and I'm very ashamed to admit that.
So yeah, obviously things have gotten to a level that is absolutely disgusting.
That's
Someone's
crazy.
sending what is alleged to be human skulls to his home. Like, how messed up is that? How does anyone sit there and try to rationalize what's going on here? And of course, I guarantee you, every single person on this screen right now you're looking at, not a single one of them will say that's too far. Not a single one of them will say anything.
Have they said anything? Does anybody in chat know on record? Like, did they say like, "Oh, that's pretty fucked up," or is it just like, "Oh, yeah"? Or do you give his human skull at all? I don't know. I guess there's ways to get one. Like, I don't know, grave digging. Maybe there's people who sell that kind of shit. I don't know. I've never thought about purchasing a skull. Think it's kind of weird.
Anything remotely close to sending human skulls to someone's house because you don't like their opinions is a bit too far. None of them will say it. In fact, what we're actually
like
seeing
$2,000.
is people in this whole crowd playing defense. They're already trying to defend themselves. You have that bad empanada individual once again making statements on YouTube saying, imagine getting destroyed so bad for genocide apologia that you are reduced to trying to play the victim by buying novelty human skulls, claiming that...
Hold on, novelty and human skulls should not be in the same sentence. Novelty and human skulls cannot... I feel like that's a kind of an oxymoron, is it not?
Someone else sent them to you as a threat and posting pictures of them with the tags from the store you bought them from still plainly visible. Zionists will do literally anything to avoid reckoning with the reality of their ideology. That's very... well, let's just say...
Oh, he's implying they're fake. Okay, I was about to say, like, real novelty human skulls. I was like, I don't follow.
Okay,
so
this one they're trying to say that they're buying this stuff for themselves and then also getting the FBI involved. So they're going to buy fake props and then get a federal agency involved, which, by the way, would be a false report that would be illegal.
Well, that's the same logic as people saying that Amaranth faked her robbery and, like, the guys got shot and the police got involved and then... it's fake because, like, they could have staged this. And I'm like, but you do realize that if they find out it's fake, and I'm sure the FBI doesn't fuck around and does find out that these things are not fake, like, if the FBI is involved, I feel like the police, the federal, not the federal, yeah, it's the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the federal police would figure out that if they're fake or they're sending it to themselves or not. I feel like that's kind of a big deal.
Would risk all of that for this unnecessary step. They don't need any more sympathy right now. They're winning this whole battle. Okay, we're seeing Cope here. They're winning. They're, you know, Ian and all these guys, they're winning, and
there's like layers
Ethan's
to
losing
this.
so hard he has to resort to this. No, everyone with 2 functioning eyeballs and a few brain cells can understand the optics of the situation. The content cop blew up in Ian's face and everyone involved, and now we're having these additional details coming out that make all of these people involved in this harassment campaign look even more foolish. And again, the burden's on them to prove that this stuff is fake. You want to make an allegation that this stuff is fake, well, it's on you, and also it's the message being sent. Well, look,
yeah, again, people can say whatever the fuck they want. It's just like normal people with functioning brains will be like, I'm allowed to be skeptical, but at the end of the day, there's layers to this. If it comes out that H3 faked sending skulls to themselves and they get in trouble with the FBI, whatever, I'll eat crow. But, like, it's fucked up to think about it like that. Like, hello? They would do that? Then they're just as insane.
It's like very real skulls being sent in the mail, 2 of which, by the way, and also, coincidentally, he has 2 children. So I think the message is very clear, and any normal person would find this very disturbing and would rightfully report it to the authorities. Which
some people believe in, like, bad juju. They could have sent them, like, the skulls, like, to give them bad juju and, like, curse them. Yeah, some religions unironically believe in that stuff. Yeah.
Is exactly what happened.
Bad juju.
Now, moving on with this and wrapping it up for today, a lot of people are starting to speculate about Creator Clash 3. This is Idubbbz' big celebrity boxing event with content creators and alike. And it turns out that Jake Paul recently announced that his next boxing event will be on the same day as Creator Clash 3, which will definitely take away some of the traction.
Oh, no, it absolutely will. Just because, like, mainstream knows about Jake Paul. My next door neighbor across the street was talking about Jake Paul. Do you think he knows who Idubbbz is? Hell no.
Ian, who's dealing with a lot because some people are obviously going to get a lot of pressure
Tyson one,
for continuing with this event after everything that's happened.
Though.
And boy, the sales aren't looking great. With only a few months to go, the blue here is the available seats for Creator Clash 3.
That's not too great.
It's not looking good. He has definitely reaped what he has sown, and he's going to continue to. Idubbbz and his fall off here is painful to watch. I don't care who you are. This is really the bad ending of any YouTuber like this. But for now, that's all we have with the recent updates regarding this situation. I know that I believe by the time this video is live, I think Ethan's going to be streaming again, talking more about this, and I'm sure there's even more details, so I'll keep you posted on that. But for now, let's get into this video.
That's why I watch videos. I don't really care, to be honest. It's just funny.
Comment section down below.
And sad.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Rev. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yep. I'm old to care about the streamer stuff. That's valid. Yeah. Bro fell off ages ago. Again, I do think that there's a merit to like thinking that Idubbbz is really culturally irrelevant. And I think he kind of just does things now to try and stay within the sphere of relevancy. Because I do not get it. I do not understand it. I do not understand the need to always be relevant. Like, the guy was relevant and like at his peak and like from 2014 to 2000, I would say 16. And then Joji left and all the other guys just kind of... They all just kind of stopped talking to him, I guess.